And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Masters Coliseum number 6 qualifiers, the Korean qualifier. I'm, of course, your host Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hope you guys had a great day of StarCraft. This is our second broadcast of the day. Earlier, we were live with ESL Open Cup Americas, and now we're here with the Korean qualifiers of the Masters Coliseum. And exclamation mark be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves. Bit of a shorter bracket here, a bit of a shorter broadcast, I imagine, which I am okay with. I'll be honest, it's been intense. It's been it's been a lot of StarCraft going on. But here we go. We have our first series, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. So I quickly just set up the player in the top as spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood. We have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player also representing Mystery Gaming. It is RagnaroK. Let us go. RagnaroK versus Bunny. Oh my god, which is pretty insane. Shout out to Bunny. Wait, hold on. Also, I have to double check something. Oh boy. Okay. So just did double check. But yeah, shout out to Bunny, because Bunny, if you remember, he has been on a hiatus. He has, or I think many people assumed he retired. He hasn't been competing in a very long time. But Bunny did return for the GSL qualifiers, or he returned for GSL. And not just that, apparently also the Masters Coliseum as well. Is this the resurgence of Bunny? Did GSL bring him back in, and are we going to be able to hold on to him? That is the question. I'm a massive Bunny fan personally. I hope so. We'll see. I'm sure a lot of it depends on whether or not he can qualify. There's going to be a pretty intense qualifier. Single elimination. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 players. 9 players come in. 2 players come out. For those wondering, the semi-finals matches, those are the qualifying matches. So yeah, as a result, we don't really have that many games ahead of us. Honestly, not too many. So I'm personally, again, I'm okay with that. You know, we've had a pretty intense, even week or month or 2 months, 3 months of StarCraft. A shorter cast is, I'm not too sad about that. Maybe we can supplement it later on with something else. We'll see. So the time being, it is going to be a hatch gas pool opener here from RagnaroK. Nothing too crazy. The first Reaper makes it across the map, is going to be dancing with the Lings of RagnaroK, but nothing should die here. We should be able to pull back in time. So far, the control seems to be good. Oh my god. Bunny playing with fire, almost gets surrounded, gets a Ling in the end, and gets the hell out of there after getting confirmation of the third base. Not too shabby. Meanwhile, back at home, it is going to be a pretty standard opener as well. The Rax is on the high ground. This is what I'm curious about. So Bunny, again, he hasn't been playing for a long time. He recently came back for GSL. I wonder if he's even aware of the Beyond opener. A lot of the Korean Terrans are experimenting and they're playing with the Beyond opener. Is that continuing to be the case, though? Is that the thing? Like, oh my god. Yeah, that is the question. Like as in Bunny, I don't know if he's been watching too much. I don't know how clued in to the current StarCraft meta he is. That's why really my eyes are on Bunny. I'm really curious to see what he brings to the table, how he plays this out, how he approaches a player like RagnaroK. They are technically teammates, true. They are teammates. I mean, actually, they've been teammates for a long time. Now that I think about it, they're on Mystery Gaming now, but back in the day they were on CJ Enters together as well. So very old school friends. As it is going to be a 1-1-1 opener into a Banshee. So this means we have an abundance of Hellions in the early game. We're also going to work towards that Banshee. This is going to delay the third CC. So this is very aggressive out of Bunny. This typically needs to do some damage to make it worth it. To make it worthwhile. Otherwise, this will be setting him a little bit behind. As the Hellions, they ignore the Queens. They're diving in. Oh, Ling speed is still a ways off. We see the Lings in the natural base. We do back up. One Hellion already goes down. And it looks like with Ling speed kicking in, RagnaroK, he may catch a couple more of these Hellions. Ugh. 2 Hellions go down alongside a Reaper. For only 4 Lings. Not the best trade from Bunny, unfortunately. And that is going to slow him down a little bit. Of course, we still have a couple more Hellions, but We're down to 4 instead of the otherwise 6 that we would have had. Banshees are moving out. Do we have anything in position? That is the question. RagnaroK, there we go. Spores are now on the way. We have a spore in the main. We have a spore at the natural. But this first Banshee is diving in immediately. Some Terran players, they wait for the second Banshee so we can jump in with one-shot potential. But the first one goes in at first, and we don't have detection yet. A couple of drones are going to be going down. 2 drones in total. 3 drones in total. The Banshee, oh no! Not here! As the Banshee does head towards the third base, gets a 4th drone and barely gets out with its life. Oh boy. Very ambitious from that Banshee. At the same time, the Hellions also dive in towards that third base, but no, the wall is a wall. Good reaction out of RagnaroK to wall off there in time. The Queens are also in position as well. Bunny, no fear. He could have turned back home with his Banshees, but he turns around to fight instead. God, that Banshee is so low. But he is going to be able to preserve it, even takes down a tumor towards the end. Behind this, third TC is being taken by Bunny, landing it as soon as possible. RagnaroK going for a bit of a different turn here. He is going straight into a Spire. So RagnaroK, he actually delays his bailing speed. He skips out in the Evo chambers. He skips out on the 1-1 and goes for a much faster Spire instead to go into those mutas. I mean, after RagnaroK deflected the Hellions and after he deflected the Banshees, the likelihood of this being scouted is pretty low. There are still 3 Hellions being active, but the likelihood, again, like the chances of them actually making it in between the bases and making it into the natural base as well, I don't see it happening. It could happen, but you know, it's unlikely. As behind this, we're getting into our 5 racks production off of 3 bases. Everything's looking normal, as to be expected here from Bunny. 5 racks on 3 bases is pretty standard. Aliens dancing between the bases themselves. Reinforcements are rocking up. Bunny does want to try to assert himself here outside of the third base. Does he intend to push in? Not really, not yet I should say, but he's setting up. He's setting up for it. He's making sure the creep doesn't get out of hand, making sure that the reinforcements, when they do arrive, do allow Bunny to actually push in towards that base and lay siege upon the third. Before that can come to pass, we do see Bunny just diving on towards the fourth base. The Ling Bane a little bit far back. We do have plenty to deal with this though, and we should see RagnaroK diving on this army. There is 1 tank in the back line, a couple of Banshees as well. Up. Oof. But the Ling Bane does find their connections. The tank is going to be going down. The Bio army is going to fall here to these mutas. Again, because they're in mutas, even the medevacs get cleaned up. The reinforcements arrive, but just a little bit too late. The tank is already gone down. And Bunny has lost all of his momentum here in this push. He's going to stick around. He's going to try and squeeze out as much value as he can, but he has to be careful. Banelings are about to finish up. Again, the mutas are here. If he commits to a fight, and if the fight goes awry, then he will lose those medevacs. There we go. Another tank does join the fray. Bunny behind this, throwing down another factory. He's not slowing down at all. He does catch a muta. Too bad of a pickoff. Gets the changelings, gets the overseer as well. RagnaroK has to be careful with how he engages, wanting to catch the army unsieged or hopefully not too far off of creep. Meanwhile, the mutas, they go for a backstab. Across the map, they're going to get a couple of SCVs. Ooh, they are going to take down some of these depots, catch some reinforcements, maybe even catch some medevacs. Uh-oh. Medevacs are going to be boosted away at the same time. Bunny pushing on forward into the fourth base. RagnaroK, he did expand over towards the left-hand side instead. Is where that this hatchery is going to go down. Meanwhile, more reinforcements are being cleaned up. Ay. So many Marines going down. These mutas just getting so much value. 1 muta is finally going to be going down, but this forces Bunny back home. I think this is a wise choice. Like, Bunny, he killed the hatchery, which is already good damage. He doesn't want to keep on pushing, though. Like, again, if he did, I do think that he would have been cleaned up. He backs off, make sure that his reinforcements, they are all protected as they all come together. Make sure they're not being picked away at by the mutas. Here we go, Ling Bane rolling in once again. We do have the tanks in position, but they were a little bit late to siege. Every tank is going to be going down. The Marine army does stand strong. The Banshees are still alive somehow. Oh my god. Guess we didn't have detection in that fight. But with the death of those tanks, once again, we have to turn back around. Bunny does have a 4th CC behind this, so he's not all in by any means. He's planning on a fourth, or planning to expand. It is a bit of a delayed fourth, but you know, he was able to kill the fourth base of RagnaroK earlier, so it's all good. Does even that up. I'm waiting for the mine. Expecting the mine shot to go up. Yeah, Thor's in production to help deal with these mutas. Bit of a double drop moving out ambitious here, and yeah, this is gonna get cleaned up. Or I assumed it would. Yeah. Medivacs go down. This is the problem. This is the power of mutas. If you're able to get into a high enough muta count, if you're able to stabilize on 4 bases, then you can't go for drop play like this. If you do, then you're going to be losing the entirety of that drop. It does give the Zerg player so much map control. As a result, Bunny is stuck at home. I mean, we saw him trying to be active, but he was punished for it. As he's stuck at home, RagnaroK is free to take a 5th base, tech up into an infestation pit, go towards a hive. This tech is late, like the upgrades have been delayed for RagnaroK. The hive is delayed for RagnaroK as well. But the reason for that is because of how gas intensive these mutas are. To be able to afford all these mutas, everything else has to be slowed down. Because of that, we actually have a pretty big upgrade advantage for for Bunny. He's got +3 attack in the way, hopefully +3 defense starts soon as well. Meanwhile, RagnaroK's still working on 2-2. Oh, once again, the triple drop moves out, and once again, it's going to get shut down by the mutas. Oh my god, the Medivacs do go down. Meanwhile, the Ling Bane rolls on forward, connects with the Bio Army. Thors are doing what they can. Good concave towards the end here. It's going to force RagnaroK back, but overall, this was still a better trade for the Zerg player. Beat up so many Medivacs, got the Banshees. We did have some good connections on those Marines. Bunny once again forced back. You can tell like how uncomfortable Bunny is as well. Like he wants to be active, like he wants to be on the map. He wants to go for like these split pushes or drop play. Mutas say no. Oh! Oof. Meanwhile, the muta count's actually been shaved off. Looking at the unit source tab, 14 mutas went down earlier. We don't really have that many left. Decent mine shots do go off. Bunny fighting back. Meanwhile, RagnaroK isn't replacing those mutas. He's actually just maxing out on Ling Bane. Maxing out on the Ling Bane instead. Which I do think makes a lot of sense. So we're going to be sticking with 10 mutas for the Zerg player. You know, because there are so many Thors now, because we're so persistent. Oof, when it comes to the anti-air, as another Baneling run by gets cleaned up, 5 SCVs go down. It would make sense for RagnaroK to switch into Ling Bane and maybe into Ultras. Meanwhile, another massive... These mines, oh my god, they've been getting so much value. But is it enough? Good SimCity here by Bunny, but the Ling Bane is rolling on in. Bunny's main army was out of position. Some frames are dropping. There's just so much Ling Bane on the ground. The base will survive. 10 SCVs go down. And Bunny was forced to turn back around. Now, this is where we have to be a little bit concerned about poking the bear. Oh my god, there's another mine truck. Jesus. We have to be a little bit concerned about poking the bears. As Bunny has a super maxed army, he's down to 55 SCVs, and he's not making more SCVs, he's making army instead, so he's kind of all in a way. He doesn't have a bank, he doesn't have the best economy, but he has a large army. And he's going to be pushing on forward. If he takes a good fight, he could straight up win the game with this push. At the same time, another Ling counterattack, eviscerating the economy here of Bunny, but he doesn't care too much as, you know, he's just stopped with SCV production. Pushing it through the right-hand side. They're going to be taking down this triangular third base. RagnaroK just looking for the better engagement, setting up for almost a surround. No, actually going for another counterattack instead. Gonna catch a lot of reinforcements. Oof. Take some mine shells to the face, but can RagnaroK survive? To appreciate that Bunny is spinning up his Widow Mines. Widow Mines are getting ready for some good connections. But the Banelings do go down. Meanwhile, RagnaroK across the map, he's busting into the natural base, forcing Bunny even more all in. He was already all in to begin with, to be fair. Factory does go down. 3-3 still on the way for RagnaroK. I don't know if he really wants to commit without it. And here we go, coming in from behind as well. RagnaroK, he's going to commit to the fight. We do have a beautiful spread here from Bunny, but we may just have too much Ling Bane. Banelings are going to get cleaned up, but we have plenty of Lings on the ground. We have Mutas in the skies as well. The Mutas are being cleaned up, but yeah, the Lings, they do shut down this army of Bunny. Force everything back. This was it. This was supposed to be the game-winning push for Bunny, but alas, does he have enough? Up. He's not taking a bad fight. Again, because there are only 2 Mutas left, Bunny is able to escape with a lot of his forces. Army supplies are still comparable. Bunny, though, he needs to keep pushing. Again, like, he doesn't have any more longevity in this game. As I say that, he's taking another CC. He's reclaiming his third. See him diverting his attention over towards the left-hand side instead. They're going to be dealing with this gold base. Or trying to. Oh, Ultras have arrived. Do we have kindness plating? We do. Kindness plating is now done. Bit of an overextension from RagnaroK. He actually didn't have too many Banelings. He's being forced back. Bunny not trading too poorly, but the Ultras up. But what about the Ultras? Ugh, as we are breaking on through, the Marauders go down, the Widowmines as well. It looks like RagnaroK does have enough. GG gets called, and RagnaroK takes game number 1. Bunny, though, was looking pretty terrifying for a while there. Again, recognizing his position, committing to the all-in. But RagnaroK, he took the right steps, took the correct steps there in slowing down the push and going for all these counterattacks, crippling the economy even further, catching reinforcements. Very wise choice there from RagnaroK. Now we're getting into game number 2. Game número 2. Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't realize that, there we go. There we go. Didn't realize the title was misplaced, but we are diving into our next game and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. Down in this series, but not out. It is Bunny. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming as well. It is RagnaroK. 1 game away from advancing on into the next round. Meanwhile, qualifying matches are preparing. My god, the rest of the bracket is progressing very nicely. We can go into it, I guess, after this series. We'll get it. The bracket isn't going anywhere. It's all good. It's all good. We'll get there. We'll get there. As we saw, quite an aggressive style coming out from Bunny in that last game. But RagnaroK, going a little bit old school, going Ling Bane Muta, was able to completely shut down Bunny, completely take the wind out of the sails of Bunny as well, shut down the drop play, take map control, and slow things down. And yeah, RagnaroK was able to give himself a lot of breathing room. He was able to spread creep freely as a result. Really good stuff. Catching up in the chat. CJ ends his team kill. Exactly. Fun fact for the old school fans in the chat, RagnaroK, Hero, Bunny, there's another one. He's slipping my mind. But the old CJ Entis boys, they're still good friends. They're still good friends. They post on social media on like Instagram every now and then whenever they do hang out together. And they did post this year, relatively recently. I say that a couple of months ago, like maybe around like February or March. But yeah, they do hang out every now and then, which is always really cool to see. It's so nostalgic seeing them all together again, despite the fact that they're on different teams nowadays. It's really cool to see that. Because they spent so much of their lives together, like obviously like bonds were formed, and yeah, they're still good friends. Really cool to see. Who's the other player I'm thinking of? Biel, that's it. I think I saw them together with Biel as well. This was after BL finished military service and he started competing again. As across the map, we do have a very interesting opener. This is going to be a 3cc 2-1-1 from Bunny on Neo Humanity. Okay, let's go. And as we get into this, a massive shout out to Babylings in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope everything was good. Welcome everyone to the Masters Coliseum Korean Qualifier. We're here in our first series in game number 2. So some very fancy Lingbei Muta coming out from RagnaroK in game 1. Meanwhile, this is crazy. So this isn't even a 3cc 2-1-1. This is a 3-racks 2-1-1. Sorry, what am I saying? Sorry, 3cc 3-racks here even from Bunny. Okay, so to break it down, very economic opener out of Bunny to go for a fast 3rd CC like this. So because of this, he's, yeah, unlike the previous game, there's a lot less pressure on him to do damage. So he's going to be a little bit more passive and defensive back at home. Because there's no factory, there are no Hellions, it means that Bunny has no presence on the map. He's not really going to be able to slow down any of the creep. He's not going to be able to harass the mineral lines. Like, sure, he has a Reaper here, but the Reaper shouldn't really get any damage. Just confirms that he's not being all-in, confirms the 3rd base. So yeah, just very light scouting out of Bunny. Very greedy, very economic. Because of these 3 Raxes as well, he is just going to have an abundance of Marines. And eventually he will be able to be active on the map with them. Once the Overlord gets cleaned up, once the 3rd base is taken, we should be seeing the factory and the starport, then medevac production. But yeah, this is a really interesting variation. I haven't seen this too much, to be honest. 3cc 2-1-1 is definitely a thing, which is 2 racks as a factory and a starport, but 3 racks, damn. Damn. Checking the vision here of RagnaroK, he was not able to scout this. He wasn't able to confirm this, so he's still in the dark. Of course, RagnaroK should be aware that it's not a 1-1-1 opener just because there are no Hellions. There are no Hellions on the map, there are no Banshees either, so RagnaroK can cross a couple of things off in his mind, in his mental checklist, as he's just saturating his 3 bases, taking his gases, getting his lair, and going roaches. Interesting. Okay. So, very stark contrast here compared to game number 1, where RagnaroK went Lingbei Muta. This time, he's going Mass Roach instead. It's a very safe way to play. With this, he should be able to solidify himself on even 4 bases. As the Marine Army has been spotted, this is gonna get interesting. How many Roaches will we have in time? Bunny is going to be hitting a timing here with Sim and Combat Shields. He's hitting before any medevacs hit the field. This is a lot of Marines, a lot of potential with this push. But the Roaches are on the way. The Queens are in position. They have energy for Transfuse. Here we go. We only have 1 stim, or we have very limited stims available here with this army. Bunny, he does push on forward. He's going to be able to focus down a lot of these Roaches. But there are too many reinforcements, and Bunny is being forced back. Again, he has to be very careful with his army. What's interesting is that he only stemmed half of his Marines. That's so cool. Not every Marine was stemmed there. So he will back off. You know, he trades relatively well. Looking at the unit source tab, he got 5 Roaches for 4 Marines. Well worth it for Bunny. He backs off, waits for some reinforcements. Make sure he has control of the Zelnaga as well, and he's getting ready for a 2nd wave. But at this point, yeah, we have more than enough Roaches. Bunny is going to respect this count, is going to back off, and he's going to be waiting here for medevacs instead. Speaking of, we have the add-on switch. 2 medevacs are being made at a time. Bunny's going to be stuck at home until the medevacs come out, but again, that was a really good moment for him. He traded well, and RagnaroK is still just working on his 4th base. A pretty delayed 4th, to be honest. Behind this, RagnaroK, he only has a single Evo chamber. Checking the upgrades, he's going to be prioritizing +1 Carapace over range. Oh boy, he's pushing on forward. We do have a good amount of Marauders back at home to defend. The boys are being pulled, and we should be able to go toe-to-toe with this army. 5 SCVs will go down, but we are going to be able to focus on a couple of these Ravagers. The Biles! Oof! Biles do connect on the Marines. So a really cheeky move out of RagnaroK. It's very similar to what we just saw from Bunny, where RagnaroK, I don't think he really intended to commit, but he pokes in, gets some damage done, and pokes the hell out of there. That did hit with Carapace, so just in time to help protect these roaches against the Marines. Again, without tanks, roaches, they're not the worst unit here. As I say that, a lot of them are going to be going down, but with the Roach Ravager, with this DPS, we're slowly busting through the Marines. Tank does come in to reinforce. And again, with this tank, RagnaroK, he cannot push in. He was able to slow down the production, though, of the Marines and the Marauders. We don't have a large army for Bunny anymore. Oh, good. Dives on forward, gets a Ravager. Still only have one tank. Now we have a second. Bunny, this position is becoming more and more fortified. More and more threatening. Being a little bit fancy. Gonna be trying to pick up another one of these Ravagers. Yeah, it's really cute. Bunny just pushing forward with a handful of units here, trying to bait the army to chase him into tank range. Gets another queen. Doesn't lose too much. RagnaroK is actually cutting workers at 3-base saturation. Interesting. He's only on 68 drones. Very low worker count, so RagnaroK is looking to max out on Ling Roach Ravager. He's going to have a massive army. I don't know if Bunny can really hold on in this position. RagnaroK is getting ready for a surround. Bunny's in a lot of danger. He scans. He sees the lack of base. And RagnaroK, he's coming in from behind. He's collapsing on these tanks. Files will be connecting. 2 tanks are going to be going down. The Marine army is standing strong, though, but god, there's just so much Roach Ravager. Every single tank falls. And without the tanks, we can fight this army. We can go toe-to-toe with the Marines. Good. The army stims on forward. It looks like Bunny, is he barely going to be able to clean this up? It's so close. Up. He barely does. He takes down all the roaches. Comes in with a tank. With the army falling, Bunny... Okay, we need to calm down. I was like, Bunny, is he really going to go for the center base? He's going to back up. Is just going to set himself up on top of the ramp once again. RagnaroK was so committed with that attack. He had maxed out for that. He had given up on his drone count for that. And with that attack failing, I do kind of want to give the edge here to Bunny. Oof. He is bleeding out a lot of units. He doesn't have a 4th base behind this either. He is on 8 Raxes. No 4th CC. It's interesting. Both players are kind of all in, and yeah, it's too much. GG gets called, and a Bunny will take game number 2. GG. Both players in their own ways going hyper aggressive and going all in. RagnaroK only had a 3-base economic setup. Didn't really have the longevity to just rebuild and remax his army, especially after losing all those roaches and ravagers. Likewise, Bunny was 8-raxing. So it didn't have a 4th CC either, so it was just on a knife's edge between those 2 players. In the end, RagnaroK lost his army. And we're going to the ace match. We are going all the way to game 3. Here we go. Meanwhile, we have the rest of the bracket sorted and ready for us as well. So we can go over those matches in a moment. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. Tying up the series 1-1 in that last game, it is Bunny. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. It is RagnaroK. But yeah, that was really cool. I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with the build that Bunny went for in that last game. If you remember the opener, I should say, going 3cc 3 racks. It does make a lot of sense on Near Humanity. It reminds me a little bit of the 4 racks build of Björn, where you build up this marine count before you even have medevacs. You push out across the map. Your first stim is the most valuable stim, so you have to be careful with when you use it. And yeah, Bunny, I feel like he set the pace. He set the pace of the game really early on with that. Oh, yeah, that was a pretty intense overall. Behind this, RagnaroK going for a pool first. Very interesting. So with this pool first, he's going to be safe, or he should be safe against any kind of proxy play. He can be a little bit aggressive across the map if he makes a handful of lings. He can go the long way around on Gressvan, he can avoid the Reaper, and he can try and delay the CC on the low ground. There we go. 2 lings are in production. We're going to have a faster queen as well for RagnaroK. SCV is going to be scouting across the map, and Bunny, upon seeing how delayed this hatchery is, he should be keeping his Reaper back at home to make sure that his CC isn't delayed. It's kind of a give and take. Bunny should hopefully also be checking the main base with this SCV as well, as the lings do confirm the pull first. Now, Bunny doesn't know if there's a Roach Warren behind this. Like, he doesn't know if this is going to be hyper aggressive, and thankfully the SCV turns back around, the lings do leave it alone, and Bunny is going to try to go in for another scout. Oh, does get eyes on the would-be third base. Is going to be very annoying here. Upon seeing the third base, he knows, okay, it's not going to be a Roach follow-up. He knows that RagnaroK is being economic behind this, and Bunny is safe and sound at home. We saw that the Reaper was staying at home as well to make sure that the CC was safe, because Bunny doesn't know that it was only 2 lings. For all he knows, it was 4 lings, and 2 lings actually bypassed the initial SCV, so Bunny playing this out very safe. But now that his CC has completed, he can be active with this Reaper, and now he should be heading towards the main base just to make sure that there's no additional gases, to make sure 100% that there is no Roach Warren. As he checks the third base, hasn't been cancelled, dives into the main. There's a queen here in position to zone him away. Queen does deny the scout. But again, because the space hasn't been cancelled, it should be economic. It would be crazy if RagnaroK went for something else. Oh, my apologies. I just noticed. Don't you just love it when players switch names? It's so good. I was so engrossed in the opener by the pull first. But there we go. Names have been fixed. Don't you just love it when they switch colors as well? It's beautiful. It's so good. Yeah, I do apologize for having the wrong names up for a little bit there, but it has been fixed. One day I'll have another monitor so I can actually look at that. As behind this, we are just setting up. Bunny going for his 3cc. 3cc 111. Never mind. Oh my god. Okay. So it is a economic opener at a Bunny, going for that fast third CC once again. And meanwhile, this is another variation. It's not a 2-on-1. It's not a Banshee opener either. Oh my god, he's going up to 5 Raxes here before the starport is even thrown down. Once again, very bio-heavy here from Bunny. Very aggressive. He's going to have such a massive marine force. I love this. I just love how different it is. Obviously, we cast a lot of Korean Terrans on this channel, like Kyor, like Maru, like Byun, but they're all more or less similar, and yeah, you don't get to see these kind of creative builds as often anymore. This is why I love Bunny. Bunny, he's a little bit more adventurous at times, for good reason. It works. It can work. So there's a bit of a give and take here. So because of this builds from Bunny, he actually doesn't have too many Hellions. He's only on 4 Hellions. At least he does have a little bit of map presence that he can assert himself with. He can clean up some tumors. He can be active on the map at least a little bit. But behind this, again, he doesn't really have a way to harass, right? There's no Banshees, there's no Liberators, there's no Raven harass or anything like that. Ooh, Lings do go for a backstab. They do catch some of these reinforcements. Good pickups here from RagnaroK. 3 Marines do go down. Very nicely done. That will just confirm the push as well. RagnaroK behind this, going once again into roaches, prioritizing carapace. Again, for those wondering, the way that it works is that the upgrade is applied to every attack, or it does help, especially against units with high attack rates like marines. Things like carapace is a little bit more valuable. It does beef up those roaches. Bunny is going to back off. He's going to be doubling back here with a drop instead. I appreciate it. It's going to be abusing the immobility of RagnaroK's army. Roaches, they take a while here to respond and to react. Roach speed is done. Ooh, and we do have queens in position. Bunny does pull back in time. Doesn't lose the drop, thankfully. And RagnaroK, once again, just like the previous game, he's only going for 3-base saturation. He has a 4th only for Larva. He's stopping droning here at 66, and he's making nothing but Roach Ravager. There's no tanks on the high ground. Uh-oh. There are Marines waiting for this army. There are a handful of Marauders as well, but RagnaroK has an overwhelming force. We do have a tank coming in from the back line, but it's going to be late to siege, and it can be piled down. As I say that, the biles will connect. The boys are being pulled, and RagnaroK has too much. Oof. Yeah, these roach styles, they can abuse such a bio-heavy composition so well. Without tanks, it's so difficult to hold on to these positions, so difficult to defend the 3rd and hold on to the ramp. And even with tanks, biles connect. 17 SCVs go down, and RagnaroK is busting into the natural base as well. Bunny just doesn't have enough. He may be able to push his army back, but GG gets called, and RagnaroK takes the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. Oh, GG, well played. I really appreciate the creativity, of Bunny there, going for these different builds. Always do appreciate it, always do love it. But of course, a big weakness that we did see there, as we are getting ready, a big weakness that we did, of course, see there was the fact that that it did delay tank production quite a bit. And without tanks, defending against these roach pushes is a really difficult thing to do. As we saw, even if the double drop was back at home, I don't know if Bunny would have been able to defend against that. So GG, very well played. Congratulations to RagnaroK as he advances on into the next round. And now we can take this moment to have a look at the bracket. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look yourselves. Oh, as I do need to sort this link out.